Sophie Canale, costume designer for Saltburn. One of the things I love about this film is that it's set in the mid-2000s, and you can definitely see that in the clothes. So how would you describe mid-2000s style?
I think it's definitely mid 2000s England as well. I think,
Yes,
there's
true.
definitely a Britishness about the fashion and being able to work with how it's scripted with teenagers, it's college students, university students. So it's really at the kind of height of how their fashion is. And their fashion trends are really, we've got the bootcut jean, we've got the posh boy polo shirt. And it's really how they're styled as well within the fashions of the 2000s, with popping the collar on the guys'
A lot
shirts,
of
and
polo
also
shirts.
a lot of polo shirts, a lot of rugby shirts. Yeah, there's the loafer, the deck shoe, and I think that's a trend that still works in kind of the upper class, society within the UK, but I think definitely within the 2000s, the pop collar is an interesting, power look, which we put on Felix, who's one of the main characters. But also with the girls as well, there's the teenage girls that are at university. It's looking back at the inspiration from denim skirts to juicy couture polos and
There's a lot of
tracksuits.
accessories from,
It's a lot of accessories. It's the UGG boot. It's the wide belt that had no use apart from sitting on the hips. So it's a fun period, and it's only 16 years ago, but it's so different to the fashions that we wear today. So yeah, it was a challenge to be able to find these items.
Mhm. I mean, what were your discussions with Emerald Fennell like? Because this is, like you said, just 16 years ago, a period we've all lived through. So was this like, I'm assuming this is also something she was going for, having set the film in 2006.
Of course, as working with the genius of Emma Fennell, writer director, she, realism is really important to her, and so the elements of ripped tights and the baggiest jeans or the shortest skirts or the bra being popped above the dress line and things like that. Yeah, it was about being able to create the real world of the 2000s, and I personally used a lot of Facebook references. It was such a popular platform at the time. It was so new, and social media, everyone was just putting all their photographs out. It was like no holds bar. It was like every drunken night, every photo went online.
Mhm.
So
And
it
you were
was a
always
great
tagged.
resource. Exactly. It was just like, so it was it was incredible though, because I had so much research just out there from my friends and colleagues and things like that of that time that were at university. So Emerald is a huge follower of fashion, and it was great to be able to collaborate with her. With both the high street fashion, and also we worked with a lot of fashion houses within the family of the and that was a great, be able to be out, get so many archive pieces as well was an unbelievable opportunity. So and with Emerald's connection, she opened so many doors for me to be able to collaborate with so many fashion houses.
Mhm. I love that Facebook was your mood board, essentially.
It was my mood board for my interviews. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I also love that Oliver is kind of like basically in costume the whole time through the movie because he's, trying to fit in like at Oxford first and then at Saltburn.
Yeah.
He's like ashamed of who he really is. So how did you want to track Oliver's journey like through his clothes that are not really him?
I think Oliver doesn't know where to sit in society. And when we first see him at university, there's an opinion that he perceives, he thinks everyone's going to be smarter and well dressed. He's stepping up into a different, society. So having bought the blazer, having bought the tie, the scarf, the new backpack, it's like first day at school, and then instantly he gets ridiculed for it. So and then as we go through the journey, there's a color palette that is quite murky. It's greens and grays, this beginning journey, he sits in the background. And I think that's the closest to his own costumes and own fashion. And then as we move through, the color palette becomes brighter in blues. And also I wanted to, with every element of his costume, I haven't broken them down. I've kept them quite stark. They're straight out of the packet. He's trying to be part of the gang. He's trying to be part of the new tribe. So there's a starkness to his clothing that the whites weren't teched in comparison to everyone else's, which were broken down to look lived in. Oliver's always slightly awkward, and I wanted to show that in the costume as well.
Yeah, you definitely see that in contrast to Felix, who is
Yeah.
obviously well off and rich, but he kind of dresses like a doofus, like
Yeah,
kind
yeah, yeah.
of very
Yeah, and
casual.
even with Oliver, he has the polo shirts. He's slowly morphing into Felix in a way, but also the brands that I use, that the representation of money that Oliver is always buying from the high street. In comparison to the Tommy Hilfiger, the Gant, the Ralph Lauren, that Felix is so naturally in and relaxed as well. So yeah, so I wanted to give that difference of wealth through costume.
Well, towards the end of the film, it's in the trailer, and it's one of like the key art pieces too. But Oliver is just in this like wine colored robe, and that color palette is also very important in the film, just like the color red in general. So how did you land on that robe and that material,
Well,
that particular
Well,
color?
that robe is actually Felix's robe. So it's like he stepped into Felix's shoes already.
Yeah.
So not knowing if anyone's seen the film. So, but yeah, so that's kind of, the inspiration behind that. And colors really, the reds were used, but not as a poignant aspect within that concept of what is happening.
Mhm. At the end, there's also this lavish costume party. And I love both Oliver and Felix's costumes because Oliver has this, I don't even know what the material is, but this is like white suit and there's embroidery on it. And then
Yeah.
Felix has, he's wearing like a white beater and then angel wings. And Oliver also has like antler ears, or not ears, just antler heads. So what went into those designs?
Well, it was the Midsummer Night's Dream ball, so that's kind of, or party, birthday party. So the concept started with that, with Oliver as the changeling boy. So that's where the concept with his costume started, and then looking at British folklores and folk costumes, and coming across this really beautiful decoration of suits with leaves and the decoration. And I feel like Elspeth would have really dressed Oliver for his own birthday party. She would want him to look, the finest he could. So it's a cotton drill and denim mix suit. And then working with actually my sister-in-law, Alice Canale, we collaborated, and she illustrated the oak leaves and the acorns. And there's also some moths that are hidden within that embroidery. And the symbolism of that is really that the acorn and the oak leaf, a lot in military, is inspired by victory and power. So there's a twist in the tale as Oliver has that scene, and so I wanted to have that kind of Easter egg in there within his costume, and also the moth to the flame, which Oliver is. So we have that, and also with talking to Emerald and the way he moves through the maze in those scenes, that we really wanted like this really strong silhouette, and that's where the antlers came in, just to be able to kind of really create that powerful look.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
and then again in Felix's way, he's constantly just so relaxed and but effortlessly
Also
cool.
like kind of innocent. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's just I also believe at that point in the storyline, he's really disregarded Oliver, and it's Oliver's birthday and he's not there to celebrate it. So the relaxedness of his costume in comparison to everyone else's is due to, not wanting to pay any effort towards this so-called friend who's who's been lying to him.
Yeah. Well, Sophie, it was great speaking with you. Thanks so much for your time. You get to stay on because
Thank
everyone's.
you.
Thank you.